Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are going to talk about happiness, the sense of feeling that bliss, the feeling of joy. But how is it any different from the sense of fulfillment? What does it mean to actually be more involved in the process than to worry more about what's going to happen towards the end of that process? Basically, the outcome. The reason why I'm discussing this is because gymming is something which comes naturally to me. But there were points and phases in my life when I became too involved, more focused on what was going to happen towards the end of the session. Not just that, but how will my physique look towards the end of the big program that I'm following? Now, although there's no problem with having such a vision, you can very clearly see where you want to be, and the sheer process of then getting where you want becomes more engaging. You have a goal, and everything you're doing in your sessions is then goal-centric. But there's a difference between the two terms, eudaimonia and happiness. The sense of experiencing something, going through a process, putting yourself through the hardships of a 6-month long program, or let's say a 3-year long period, to then achieve the outcome, which will, of course, give you a sense of happiness because, well, let's say if you're pursuing a PhD and you end up getting your PhD after 3 to 4 years of research and consistent writing and presentations and vivas and interviews, then of course you're going to be happy because you now have this beautiful diploma in your hand which you can show to the world and to your relatives who constantly ask about what is your child doing. But is that experience in any way comparable to what you experience when you're trying to achieve that goal? That is what eudaimonia is. It was coined by Aristotle, and now that we know what it means, maybe it is a good idea to think more about eudaimonia as something which we can use to be more involved with the process and less worried about the outcome. Now, with that being said, let's jump into the session for today, which is going to be shoulders and triceps. As you can see from the little bump that I still have, it's the next morning. I trained yesterday, and I'm going to give you guys a rundown of what I did yesterday because the program has changed and we're jumping into the heavy lifting waters. Now, the lifting is going to look more like lifting, sound more like lifting. It's going to be a little less, I would say, well, realistically, the number of repetitions we will be doing in these sessions are not as high as the ones that we were achieving in the 21-day challenge, but it's going to be a different experience and more muscle growth, more strength, and we just want to get bigger and sharper looking. So let's get into it. The first exercise here is overhead dumbbell press. Dumbbells need to again stay more with your body and not far from you. There is a difference between holding them really close, that way your wrist is going to move inwards. And what is that going to cause is a lot of problems because when you're trying to train your shoulders and you don't have your elbows or your wrist outside or let's say at least in line with your elbows, then it's going to be more of your tricep doing the work and not your shoulders. In lateral raises, we are lifting 15 kilos on each side, and the movement is although a little sluggish, but we are trying to control it as we lower the weight down. And I'm going to keep my elbows close, the wrist close to my elbow, close to my chest, so that if it's heavy, then it ends up working for my muscle and I don't have any injury coming my way. The farther it is, the more stress it's going to put on the moment arm, and at least the joint that you have right here. Tricep exercises, the focus was quite clear. It was to get the most out of the least number of exercises. So I only did 3 exercises, and we tried to push our limits to get really in that sweet spot where you're feeling the burning sensation and you're doing a lot of work, but you're also allowing your muscle to lift plenty of weight, which isn't the case with this exercise because this was done only with my body weight, and I'm soon going to use a belt to add more weight to this lift. But until then, I am going to keep doing this exercise in this fashion, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, bye-bye.